What's up, guys? So today we're going to study or look at the apex fallacy. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into the actual fallacy, let's talk about bell curves and stats and shit. So, what's a bell curve? So, bell curve is what we call the normal distribution. So it fits many natural phenomena. So like height, blood pressure, IQ, a lot of like biological, a lot of economic stuff tends to fall on a nice, smooth bell curve. We're gonna look at the bell curve in the next slide, but let's just get through this crap here. So it's the jargon here is that it's a probability function that describes how the values of a variable are distributed. So in layman's terms, or just to be a little bit simple here, it's basically a math equation that tells you how often something occurs in a data set, in a set of data. So I hope that's a little bit more less bullshitty than whatever the fuck I said here earlier. So most people cluster around the middle. So we have the mean, median, and mode. So the mean, median, and mode are measures of central tendency. They measure the middle, the middle of the bell curve, the very apex of the bell curve, the top of it. Now don't confuse this with being the apex fallacy, but it is the top of the bell curve where most people will sit. So one mistake a lot of people make is defaulting to the mean or the average. Mean is simply the average. You add 1, 2, and 3 together, divided by 3, you get the average. Median is the middle value. So 1, 2, and 3, 2 the middle value. Okay, fine. And the mode is the one that occurs most often. So 1, 2, 2, 3. Well, 2 occurs most often, so that would be our mode. So we should all know this stuff from probably like elementary school bullshit math. Okay. So sometimes the mean is not the best value. So for example, we use the median wage instead of the mean or average wage when talking about income inequality because extremely wealthy people throw off the average. Like if somebody's making $1 million and everybody else is making like $10,000, well, it wouldn't make very much sense to use the average there because that one dude's throwing off your numbers so fucking hardcore that you're not really getting any meaningful data out of that stat, where the median might be a more representative sample or representative number of central tendency of the middle of your country or of the middle of the data set you're trying to analyze here. Oh god, and then extreme values are at the end. So you have the on one end of the bell curve you have, let's take IQ, really dumb people on the left side, and really smart people on the right side. And then the middle is 100. 100 IQ is the average in America, I think, or the average in the I think it's actually the world, I believe, but whatever. So extreme values are fairly rare. Let's keep going. So our nice big, or nice small thing here is a nice normal curve, standard deviation chart. It's a nice bell curve here. Look at this curve; it's beautiful. So in the middle here is where the majority of normal people sit at. If we look at IQ here, IQ would be 100. The majority of people would be right here, somewhere around 100. Maybe flow over a little here to the 90s. Some might be a little bit over here in the 110s, 120s. Okay, but for the most part, though, they're sitting right here in the middle. This is a normal distribution. Height works the same way. A lot of people, I think, the average height for a man is like 5'10", I believe. So you're sitting right here in the middle. You're right here on the. Some people might be 5'8", some people might be 6'1", but you're right here in the middle, dude. You're right here, or you might be over here. I don't know. But so this is an example of a bell curve or a normal distribution. If you were to cut the graph in half, so if we cut this graph right here down the middle here, it'd be 50-50. 50 will be over here, 50% will be over here, and 50% will be over here. I didn't do the math on this shit, but if you add this, and this together, it should be 50%. Okay? So standard deviation is another term that's important to know. It tells us how far something is from the mean. So the mean is being the average. I wouldn't even use the mean though. Maybe just the measure that we use to decide central tendency. Although I believe it actually is mean, or mu is what they call it in stats. So if a low standard deviation tells us that data will be close to the mean or the middle, a large one will tell us that data will be far from the mean. So that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I have to go into that. So let's get into the actual meat of this thing, which is the apex fallacy. Okay, so it occurs when evaluating a group based on the performance of the best group members and not a representative sample of that group's members. Now, I would replace representative with random and representative. That's a very important thing to know in stats. If something's not random and representative, then you're not getting a actual real representative sample. You're just getting you can get a sample that's representative, but it won't be random. You always want to get your make sure that your data is relatively random, so you're getting the best group of people to represent the population that you're trying to get. So yeah, this maybe not this is the best definition, but it's the one I found on Rational Wiki, which is a pretty shitty website in my opinion, but whatever. So let's keep going. So basically, it's looking at the tail end of the bell curve. Really, I would even say just the right end of the bell curve, and making data extrapolations, or rather extrapolating it across the rest of whatever the population we are measuring. So, and then the opposite of, I guess, the opposite of the apex fallacy is the nadir fallacy. So, what's the nadir fallacy? Well, that fallacy involves doing the exact opposite. You're basically taking the other half, not the other half, I guess, but the left half of the bell curve. You're saying, hey, these really dumb people or these really short people are representative of the average life of the average man. Therefore, this is true. Okay, well, no, you can't do that either. Okay, you can't take the worst half of your population and say, well, this is representative of the middle here. No, it's not, or the average person. It's just fucking not. Okay. All right. So did I cover this part? Yeah, I did. Okay, keep going. Okay, then I would almost call this the fallacy of the pinnacle and the pit. I mean, either way, apex. I mean, I guess the dumbest guy, the smartest guy, they're kind of the apex of different ends. If you're like the dumbest guy in your group, well, I guess you're the apex of the dumb fucks. If you're the smartest guy in the group, you're the smartest guy, or you're the smartest guy and the smart guys. Okay, fine. So, apex fallacy probably works for both of these terms here. Apex and deer, but I get why we have different terms for different shit. It helps people know shit, right? So we have hierarchy. So we all know what hierarchy is. People are put on you have your certain place in society. It's almost like a caste system in a way. Like if you're rich, you're at the very top of the pyramid here. If you're poor, you're at the bottom. Well, we're going to use LMS here, looks money status, as our high. You're at the very pinnacle of this guy here, and your low LMS guy, they're at the pit. You're down here at the bottom, getting crushed by the system. Okay. So let's relate this back to dating and social games. So when women are looking at a man, they're looking at the top of the pyramid and then work their way down. They will sometimes take the behavior of these high LMS men and extrapolate it down to the bottom, non-top 20% men. So the other 80% of men here, these guys on here are getting fucked. Okay, so this guy up here, he gets ultimate grace, and these guys on here get fucked up the ass. Okay, so they will sometimes take the behavior of these high LMS men and extrapolate it down to the bottom non-top 20% men. So let's do a thought experiment here. This is kind of a dumb thought experiment, but hey, it works. We have a thought experiment 1 here. We have Becky sleeps with Chad and expects Chad to commit now because she gave up the goods. Okay, so she's a fucking idiot. She shouldn't have gave the goods up, but hey, it's up to her, right? Freedom, hooray! So the most attractive men are fuckboys. Those attractive men are representative of all men. Therefore, all men are fuckboys. Okay, this is fucking retarded. You should already know this is fucking retarded. But the second statement here is fucking retarded. So is the third statement. They're all fucking retarded. So when Chad doesn't commit or reveals that this is a one-time thing or a one-night stand, Becky will obviously be angry. She might then go to her friends and say, all men want is sex, or all men are fuckboys. Okay, well, then we have these statements here. When she says that all men are fuckboys, she's implicitly saying that these two statements up here are basically already being stated. When she's fucking around with Chads, the most attractive men are fuckboys. Okay, well, this is probably true. Okay, these men have zero incentive to ever stop being fuckboys because women keep feeding them. Okay, now this second statement here, so oftentimes the second sentence is unstated, but often implied by the word all. So when she says all men, this is the implication is up here. Okay, this is the implication is that those attractive men are representative of all men. When she says all men. Okay, but I'm going to explain what women mean when they say all men in a few minutes. So let's get through this fucking thought experiment here. So the same can be said for the nadir fallacy. Well, let's say Becky was sexually assaulted by a man and proclaimed that all men are rapists. Okay, well, the most creepy men are rapists. Those creepy men are representative of all men. All men are rapists. Because this is obviously fucking retarded. You should probably kill yourself if you believe any of this shit. But if you don't, hey, you're just fucking with the gene pool, right? All right, so let's continue with the shit. So the sad reality is that she will probably continue trying to get with men like Chad. She doesn't know LMS or SMV. I don't know. Women almost should know this, but they don't seem to know it on a weird sort of they don't know how to analyze it. I don't fucking know. They know it, but they don't know it. I have no clue how the fuck they go through life not knowing these terms, but they're fucking stupid. I don't know. So when she makes the statement that all men are fuckboys, she doesn't really mean Chad. She might mean it in that very moment, but the moment another man with the same makeup shows appears, she will try again. She'll do the same mistake over and over again. She's fucking stupid. Okay? What she fails to realize is that men like Chad, Tyrone, Chang, Chadula, all these fucking dudes that you would call Chad, the top echelon of men who have high SMV, really even just looks, they have no incentive to change as long as women like her exist. As long as women like her keep feeding into the system, feeding into the Chad system, well, why would Chad change? Why? Like, he's getting it for free. He doesn't have to do any fucking work. He just walks up, and you fall into his fucking lap, and he's like, alright, well, this is easy mode, dog. I just get to walk in and get whatever the hell I want. So, Chad has no incentive to change. Ever. Ever. Okay? It's been said before, but women will break the rules for men with high looks. I wouldn't even include the entire SMV here, just looks. Looks is enough to get you in the door, at least for sex. So I explained this in another video, but when something is supposed to be there, our mind won't waste time processing it. So like, when when men are supposed to look good, to be dateable. So if you look bad enough, women are going to notice that and not date you. But if you look good enough, it doesn't even like register in a woman's mind that like you look good, because it's just like she might look at it for like 1 second, analyze it, and be like, okay, but he looks good enough for me to date, so he's past the look threshold, therefore he gets to do the rest of the steps. Like, this is effectively what's going on here. So let's see, this is probably at play here. So when we talk, I explained in another video that our mind will process is probably at play here. So women and men are supposed to look good to be dateable. Rather, to women, men are supposed to look good to be dateable and fuckable. If they aren't, then they're basically just like background noise. They're like NPC characters in a game. Like, they might as well not even exist. So if you're not dateable and fuckable because you don't look good, well, you don't even exist in their mindset. From a woman's perspective, when she's talking about men, she really means Chad. But Chad is exempt from the rules, so she passes all his sins down the hierarchy. So Chad is basically like, let's go back up here. Let's go back. Chad up here, he's almost sinless. Like, he can't do anything wrong, because like he has such high LMS, or even just high looks. You can just look at the looks here. He has such high looks that instead of like addressing the fact that Chad's a shithead because like you made him a shithead, no, it's not that. It's not that I'm wrong. It's they're wrong. So I'm gonna put all those sins, all that bad shit down here. So Chad fucks up, and you pay for it. Okay, privatized gains, socialized losses. Wow, huh? This almost matches up with capitalism, right? What do you know? Oh shit, I'm not done yet. So, from a woman's perspective, when she's talking about men, okay, I already said the shit. Okay, Chad gets away with it while you have to take the worst of feminism. So, like, if you look at like our normie tier men who are like 5s and 6s and maybe some 7s, and our lower tier men who are like 4 5s and 4 3s, 2s and 1s, these men are getting fucked, dog. These dudes down here, they're getting fucked up the ass. These dudes here, like, if they're making it at all, they might be getting like 1 lay like a year, like, and these dudes up here are just fucking crushing it. It's fucking insane how bad they're crushing it. So like, like they keep passing these sins down here, and they wonder why. Well, why are these men so pissed off? Why are these guys so pissed off? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like they don't think. So these men out here get the worst of feminism, and the men at the top almost get none of it, because they're like almost exempt from it. This is probably why women were told to wait until marriage no matter what. Okay, like, this is why we had a blanket rule of like, women, just wait till fucking marriage. Like, stop having sex with every single dude that looks good, because like, this is what happens. Like, this is what fucking happens. Well, you earned it. You wanted freedom. Well, you fucked up. So women are stuck in a strange situation where they don't even consider the majority of men to be men, but expect them to fix the problem. I.e., the problem being Chad's non-commitment. So basically, they want you, the dude that's like a 5, 6, or 7 in the middle here, and they want the dude who's like literally like the incels, the simps, the beta male orbiters, these guys on here who are like really, really low SMB. They want you to fix this problem. They want you to fix this problem, but you didn't cause this problem. Like, it's not your fault that Chad's Chad. Like, you were just born and you live your life, and all of a sudden, like, you get yelled at by some fat chick who's like, yo, I'm getting pumped and dumped, dog, help me. Like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't call that shit. Stop fucking him. I can't. Like, okay, what the fuck? Like, this is fucking stupid. So let's keep going here. So They want you to fix Chad's non-commitment when his non-commitment is a byproduct of their fuckery. So let's keep going here. Let's next slide. Let's use our tools. So this is our feedback loop. We all know what this is, right? If you watch the video, you know what this is. So let's use our feedback loop to look at Chad and the Becky relationship. So let's put Chad and Becky into the process, which is the dating system of the dating game. So the process here is the dating game. Chad, Becky are the inputs, and really just all the society shit. No, everybody really is an input here, but let's just put those two in there. Okay? So we put Chad and Becky into the system. Woo! Processes it. And we get an output. Oh, what do you know? Output pops out. Okay, so the likely output is that Becky will end up butthurt. So Becky's butthurt as fuck. Okay, Chad didn't commit and walked away because Chad doesn't give a fuck anyway because he was trying to get his dick wet. And yeah, Chad will walk away, find new prey. The incel normie who also in this process here, they get fucked over because they get nothing, and their women are being degraded now because Chad keeps fucking up. Which this feeds back into the system. Whereas the more Chad fucks, the more Chad and Becky keep fucking. Well, the worse and worse things get for the incel, the better and better things get for Chad. But the output is what the output is. Okay, this is our system here. Our system is fucked. All right, system's just fucked. The process isn't wrong, but the system itself here, the whole thing is fucked. So let's use our tools too. Ooh. So we input sexual experience into Chad's system because here we have the Chad system, the god tier Chad system of nice jaw and whatever the fuck his haircut is. So we input sexual experience into Chad's system. So sexual experience being the input, Chad processes it, and the output makes Chad look better in the eyes of other females. So in the female system, she's now looking at Chad saying, "Oh, he's a highly desirable man, so I need to go get with him." Even though she's heard all the rumors that Chad's a fucking idiot, but hey, whatever, fuck it. I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring and figure out if I can tame Chad, right? Well, you're an idiot if you think you can. Okay. We know that women want men who are more experienced and who are desired by other women. Women are inflating. Okay, this is inflation. They are inflating Chad's SMV and LMS. Okay, SMV including Chad's SMV and LMS are kind of tied at the hip, really, but LMS they're effectively inflating Chad's LMS first, and which inflates his SMV. So Chad's LMS, his looks, money, and status, really just the status and I guess the looks part of it. Chad looks better to women because he has more mates. He has a lot of women want Chad, and his status getting better because he's getting more notorious. Women now know about Chad's sexual exploits and how much of a fuckboy he is. And ooh, can you tame Chad? Ooh, can you do it? Well, obviously not. So this feeds back. Okay, he feeds back into the Chad system, and he gets more sex, which feeds back into the Chad system. Rinse and repeat. Okay, the more sex Chad gets, is the output. That feeds back into the Chad system. Oh look, increases. More sex for Chad. Oh look, we keep doing this over and over again. This is not working. You keep doing the same shit over and over again. That's fucking insanity. You're fucking stupid. Okay? No system stands alone. Okay? Chad's system also affects the greater dating game as well. Okay? Because Chad is running through so many women, the incel and normie is getting less. The incel wasn't getting anything anyway, but his probability of sex is dropping exponentially, while Chad is increasing exponentially. Okay? This is insanity. Okay? This makes zero sense why women keep doing this, but they keep doing it. So here we are. Let's look at feminism real quick. So feminism uses the apex fallacy a lot. So here's an economic example of it. So men dominate C-suites. Those men in those C-suites represent all men. All men are in C-suites. Okay, this is obviously bullshit. So the problem here should be obvious. The majority of men work shit jobs, and only a few 1% of men have the luxury of making 6 to 7 figures while snorting coke off their secretary's ass. Okay, very, very few men have this luxury of literally like making that kind of money and being at the top of their game. Okay, very, very few men have ever been at the top of society. But somehow we're gonna make a data extrapolation here and say, oh look, these guys are in C-suites, therefore all men are in C-suites. Like no, it's never been how it's worked ever. And this passes down to like this same thing applies to government and social examples. So I already gave a social example of the SMV sexual dating strategy shit. I already gave that example. The government one works too. Like the majority of men have never been president. The majority of men have never held political power at all. The majority of men have just been ruled by politics. So like this weird thing where we're like, oh well, men have all the power because there's a bunch of men in Congress and blah blah blah. Well, the men who are at the bottom of the system also get fucked too. Okay, like we aren't like sitting here like all walking off of Chad's power or all walking off of Barack Obama or Donald Trump's power because he happened to get power. No, his power does not pass down to us. Okay, he's gonna keep it all for himself, and that's how normally how it works. Although I might not agree with this, I might make a video on how stereotypes can sometimes help us, where sometimes the top can some of that stuff does flow down, like things like white people, the idea that because the meme is that like they're more privileged and they have more money, well, it might cause somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, well, they get perceived to be better by other women. So maybe this isn't really the best example, but I think it works here. Let's just say it works here. Fuck it. Okay. Now, systemic sexism is something that women will then throw back at you, saying that, well, it's not just these men here; it's the entire system is sexist. So that sexism is baked into the system. Well, if it's baked into the system, there's nothing we can really do about it other than suppress it. Now, how do you suppress it? I have no fucking clue. And systemic sexism can sometimes be justified if you have the data to back it up. So let's look at one example of it. Would be car insurance. I'm not going to read this entire fucking thing off eSurance, but I'm going to read this one little thing I copy and pasted. So gender is one of the many factors your insurer takes into account when calculating your premium. But why is it a factor? In addition to the fact that women tend to drive less than men, accidents and DUI stats consistently reflect that male drivers, on the whole, take more driving risks than their female counterparts. All insurance companies price policies in part by predicting risk. There are three main categories that suggest women are safer drivers than men: accidents, speeding, and DUI convictions. Now they go into the stats more on like the actual websites. If you just look up like driving, why do men pay more for insurance than women, then you'll it's like the first link on there. You can figure it out on your own, read the data yourself. But in general, though, the insurance system has, especially the car insurance system, has basically justified sexism by saying that, well, we can charge more for men because, well, they're men. Like because men do X, Y, and Z. If you can justify it, you can generally get around discrimination and sexism. All right, so this has been Mystery School. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment if I missed something or if you have anything to say. So, next video should be out soon. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, see you guys later.